Hi everyone, Happy New Year's for both Solar and Luna. We're going to record another review of the Energy Balancing with Faith course. So I'm going to start sharing screen here. Um, okay, so I hope you guys can see that. Can you see that?
Yeah,
So after this, we'll be able to just do a little bit of review session on our friends. And so you can have an example of what it looks like. All right. So this is where we left off last year. Um, so we just wanted to help everyone have more self-awareness, I guess, because our minds our brain tries to simplify things, make things easy for us, automate things to make life easier. But sometimes when it makes decisions and it makes connections, it's milliseconds and we don't even recognize what we're thinking. Okay. So we just want to help ourselves be aware. And once we're aware, I think you'll be able to pick it up a lot faster, what you need to change within yourself. So let's talk about real humility and selflessness versus self-abuse and pride. Um, it's sort of like the difference between thinking more of yourself and less about yourself. Does that make sense? We
yeah.
need to think more of ourselves, because we're beloved children of God, because we, have divine potential, but we don't have to think more about ourselves, me, my. And sometimes, um, this culture that we pick up once in a while, it makes us think more about ourselves. Okay, so let's just clarify that so we can live a happier life. Okay, so real humility versus this pride. Okay, because sometimes people think if they're poor, if they're struggling, they're humble, and the people that are not poor or struggling or perhaps rich, they are prideful. But you just sit down and just really understand the definitions and what it can do for you, how it can damage us even. So uh, it'll just help us be better. So real humility is when somebody really understands who they are. Okay, they are abased. In the scriptures, they talk about the word abased. I really like that because it gives us a better understanding. Because sometimes humility, it's been overused, and people think that poor equals humble, or struggle equals humble. Okay, so abase means you see um, how lowly we are. Okay, compared to God, compared to God. Okay, um, yeah, we can't do anything without Him. Right? We accept our weaknesses instead of focusing on look how bad I am and look how unskilled or whatever I am. It's you're accepting your weaknesses because you're accepting that you're human, right? And the people who do accept their weaknesses and accept their own strengths as well, okay? Those are people that are humble, that really see themselves for who they really are. You do have strengths, so recognize that those are blessings from God. The weaknesses are also gifts from God, I feel, because they remind us to rely on God. Okay, they compel us to that God that created and given us all this, yeah, all these blessings. Michaela?
I just wanted to add that I love how you added strength on there too,
Yeah,
because a lot of false humility is oh, I have this, but like it's not that good. You're discounting your strengths.
yeah,
And that is a form of pride. Like you think that you have to be a certain level rather than just accepting that you have a
mhm,
strength that you can use and that you can accept is a benefit to you.
yeah, that's right. It's a benefit to you, it's a benefit to others. So. strength doesn't necessarily mean you have to be number one in everything or in that thing. You don't have to be the best. That's comparing as well. Okay, we don't need to be comparing, but we just need to know that I'm actually really good at this thing. Actually can use this to help people, to help myself. So when you come together in a community, can you imagine everyone recognizing their own strength and saying, "Oh, I volunteer for this. Oh, yep, you volunteer for that. Good, good, good." And then somehow, as we collaborate, we all are using our strengths and we create so much more. All right? Isn't that beautiful? Right? Stories of like seven brothers, the Chinese seven brothers or whatever, and or seven sisters or whatever. Those stories are great because they all know they can do stuff. I mean, even if you're tall, that's a strength, right? For some reasons. Yeah. So you don't have to be the tallest, right? It's, know that you can leverage what gifts you're given. So it shows that gratitude that you have with what God has given us. So sometimes I have to sit down and teach my kids what their strengths are, because sometimes we don't recognize that because things are so easy for you, then you don't realize that that's your strength, and we can use that to bless others. There's a test called Strength Finders. If you buy the book, you get the test for free, um, and they give you the top 10 strengths that you have, top six or something, and that the Abinger Institute, I think is, they've done so much research on people strengthening their strengths and leveraging their strengths instead of, working super hard on their weaknesses. People who have certain strengths, they can um, raise their strengths so much easier and faster than raising their own weaknesses. Okay, so when you leverage it and you find people who have the strengths in your weak areas, yeah, you can make miracles happen. It's amazing. So even like for me, my number one strength is connection. Just really connecting to people or connecting ideas. Yeah. So I thought that's great. I could use that, and I've been using that, and I didn't recognize that as a strength. Some people they like to have futuristic thinking, and that's a strength. So I don't have that as my top six. My husband does. Then, I like to discuss things with him to help me see where we can take this idea or whatever in the future. So once you know each other's strengths, you can leverage it. So good. If you do, I'll have a link. I have a link for you to add your strengths to the list of other people's strengths, and you can just scroll down and have a look at people that you know and their strengths, and yeah, just understand each other much better. Yeah, there's input. That's a strength. Someone that you can add to it. I have a friend, and I realized when we were comparing our strengths, I realized like this is why we love each other so much because I have this idea. I love learning. I love it's called intellection or something. And then she she takes that idea and she's like, "Oh, I know. I read a book about that. And here's this author. And then here's what he says about it." And it's just so helpful to have somebody add to what you already have. And whenever I need to brainstorm, I think I remember one time I'm like, I need to talk. And she's like, okay. And so I really did it. I didn't realize I didn't. But yeah, we jumped on the call together. And then I said, okay, here's my idea. And I said this and this and this. And then I shared with her all my ideas. And then I worked it out logically. And then, she was like, yep, yep. And then she's like, oh, and then this other concept that, you can add to that. And I thought, oh, great, great, great. So in the end, she didn't say too much, but it was just enough for me to go, okay, I'm ready to go. And I'm like, thank you for the talk. She's like, you're welcome. It's so good. So yeah, strength, understanding your strength, accepting your weaknesses, that's a sign of humility, okay? Having an open heart and teachable, that's huge. Okay, that is so huge. Open heart. You can tell because you don't have heart walls. There's always possibilities and changes that you can have. That's a sign. When your boss gives you feedback, you can say, that's a good idea. I'll take that on. Thank you for the feedback. That is a sign of humility. I mean, the bosses will love and adore you, instead of, oh, no, no, I'm not like that. That's really difficult to teach an employee something new if they already think they know everything, right? Receiving with gratitude, even if it's the smallest thing, receive with gratitude. Yeah, with so much joy. Yeah, I'm lucky that I am surrounded by several people that have shown me that just amazing. I want to be more like them. Courage and solution seeking. That's humility because what you're doing is you're seeking God's help in your situations. You're not relying on yourself. When we have a lot of gut issues, we're pulling on our own energy to solve problems. Um, and then um, our heart is not really connected to the Lord to find those solutions. Okay. If we have, say, a lot of heart issues, we're closing our hearts to God, to His love, to His inspiration. When people who are heart-led, they are very humble people too. Okay, whenever they feel this divine inspiration and guidance, they follow and they act quickly, even if it doesn't make sense yet. Yeah, that's humility. Yeah. So whenever that happens, I actually go to, I share this with my loved ones, best friends, and my kids, so that they could see the work of the Lord, manifest. Yeah. So for example, I felt like I need to write my books. And then when I explained it to my kids and friends, they're like, yeah, yeah, you should do it. And then I work on it. I'm thinking, oh, this is really hard. But I'm doing it because the Lord wants me to do it. I don't know what's going to come of it, right? And then, a few years later, I finish a few books and then this course, and people can see that because I followed that inspiration of my heart, it resulted in something that is divine. Okay, so it just gives them examples to promote their faith as well. Yeah, so be sure to share with people too. Okay, self-respect, because you think well of yourself. You don't have to think more about yourself. Okay, so you respect yourself enough. You don't need everybody to validate, right? Um, there you go. Self-awareness, okay, conscious of your own weaknesses and strengths. Okay, there's other self-awareness too, because if you say, I've got this habit and it's a really bad habit, I need to get rid of it, that's self-awareness. I realize that when I sit down, I watch TV, I eat junk food, right? That's a awareness. So if I, don't watch TV as often, then I'm not going to eat junk food so often. So that's awareness. Okay. Healthy boundaries, people who put in the effort to um, have personal policies, right? You know what you want to say no to, you know what you want to say yes to, you know your own rules. Yeah. You act in faith. Um, True righteousness is just trying to do what's right for the sake of right, not for the praise. Okay, that's just really different. I think people who have a connection to the Lord, um, when they act or they give gifts or whatever, it's um, you can feel like it's just genuine. It's just because they love you and they want what's best for you. And there's others that don't have that true righteousness. They want to be praised. We have a little funny inside joke in my family. We have an auntie, that she is so generous. She loves giving so much. Um, and like we don't know all of what she does because she's so kind and loving to everybody. So when we come together, we're like, oh, there's that from her. Oh, yeah, of course. Because she just gives and gives and gives to everybody. An example is when I was in college and I was actually married at that time and I had Michaela. She was only one. And I visited Australia and had heading back to America. And then she snuck me an envelope of money. I didn't know how much it was in there. She didn't let me look at it. But she's like, you know what? I need your help. She's like, I just don't have kids, so I don't know what to buy little Michaela. Can you help me? She's like, here's some money. Just, help me out. I'm like, yeah, yeah, okay, Auntie. Oh, thank you so much for thinking of her. And then I'm on the plane and I open the envelope. It's like $500 cash. I'm like, she's just amazing. She just wants to give you something, but she's kind of disguising it in a way that makes you accept it. I'm like, she's just beautiful. I mean, you come to find out she bought a house for so and so, and she bought a car for so and so, and just an amazing person. I want to be like her when I grow up. On the other hand, another auntie, when she went to a wedding, when she gave, people give envelopes of money and just, but she has to take the money out and she fans it. She's like, $1,000 I will give you to bless your family. And my sister and I are like, okay, auntie, just put it away. Just, okay. So you're giving to have people praise you, right? So it's a little bit different there. Um, but I'm like, I really like the way this one works. So note to self, when I grow up, I want to be like her. Yeah. So there's when I think you're happy with yourself, you know that, you know, who you are, really don't hunger for all of that attention and praise. Non-judgmental, that's important. A lot of us, I think, don't even realize we do that. I find that sometimes I have to question myself. I'm like, well, was I judgmental then? Or just now? You know, that's, but what I realized about this is judgment means you put people in a box and it's a negative box. So if you look at people and they're hurting themselves, you think, oh, that direction is no good. They might, be harmful and you can help them out, but that's not judgment because you can see their potential, right? Saying something about it to help somebody is not judgmental, right? So I had a lady, she was like, oh, we have this issue and then, you know, but we're just afraid that you might be judging us and stuff. And I'm like, no, I was just trying to help you out there. I don't see you as, this negative thing. And, that's the difference. But when people judge themselves, I suck, I suck, I suck. And then, when people talk to them, they assume everybody's judging them when there's so many people out there that just really wants to help. So it's a reflection of them. It's they are projecting that on others. So at first I thought, oh, was she telling me that I'm judgmental? And I realized I'm like, okay, the definition of judgmental is putting people in a negative box. And I'm like, I wasn't doing that. I could see her daughter's potential when I was trying to help. And I'm like, okay, I'm good. This is her reflection, you know, of herself. Okay. And there are times that we worry and that we, come across as judgmental, and that's something that we need to fix. But yeah, that's one way to check. Okay. Um, Being empowered and confident. Um, you know, allowing yourself to create greatness. That's humility. Imagine if God gave you a task, like Noah building an ark, and you did. You were confident in the Lord's confidence. You did something powerful, right? That's humility. I can't imagine Noah going, hey, look at me, look at the ark I made. You know, it's just, yes, show me how and I'll do my best, right? That's humility. So holding yourself back, making yourself small is not humble. once I had a lady, and our family was just trying to be kind and loving to her. She was like complaining that she didn't have food. So we made a tray of fruits and things and brought it over to her house. Anyways, I talked to her about, opportunities for her to have employment and other things. I'm just figuring out how to help her so that she could, you know, go fishing and provide fish for her family, right? Um, Instead of being given fish. Anyway, she said to me, if I start earning money, people won't give me stuff. And I thought, oh, okay. That's not empowering. Use your God-given gifts and talents and strengths to be, self-reliant, um, and uh, contributing to society, right? That is humility, right? Okay, on the other side, we have this false humility, um, swallowing your own weaknesses and unempowerment. I think people who keep on just, whenever there's a conversation, those people, um, and then they point out, oh yeah, that will probably not be me, haha, or I don't know that, I can't do that, and it's like a joke, and I'm like, how is that a good thing, right? You're saying all the negative things about yourself and laughing at all your um, lack, but being kind of I think it's like a holding it as a token uh, of what do you call it? Pride. Um, oh, I can't remember the word. Yeah, being proud of it, proud of those negativities. Yeah, or self-sabotage, excessive self-focus. And a conversation when we talk about a certain topic, and then it's always turning around and it's going to be about that person in the end, right? Negative self-talk, like I mentioned earlier, putting self down. That's or the people that are very self-righteous, self-elevating. It's always about comparing yourself with others. So at somebody's expense, you're higher, or putting somebody up, then you're lower. So really don't need to do that. It's not healthy. Okay, but it's about you. It's talking about you. Over servicing, being the giver. Well, somebody needs to be the giver, somebody needs to be the receiver, and we need to, take turns, right? It can't be this a person that's, oh yeah, I always give people, I'm always the giver, or I I'm always last, the kids come first. Yeah, we just need to have that balance of give and take, equal energy exchange, you know, martyr victim mentality. We can go on and on about that, especially us mums. Okay, it's not a very good culture. Once I said to a mum, I said, okay, you don't sleep enough, you don't take care of yourself, you do, and now your kids are mad at you. And she's like, I don't get it. Like, I'm last. I do everything for everyone. I don't know why they would be mad. And I said, what does your kids say when they're mad at you? And she says, my daughter says, well, who asked you? Who asked you to be last? Who asked you to sacrifice like that? And she's like, I can't believe it. I can't believe she said that. And I said, look, she has a point, right? Imagine if she grew up and became a mom. Are you the example of motherhood that she wants to be? So now she's going to lose her identity, sacrifice, and not take care of herself. Is that the ideal that she should aspire to? And she's like, oh my gosh, no. So and then also you sacrificing and you doing everything makes her feel bad, feel guilty, because she's the one that's causing all that pain. I said just balance it up. Mommy needs this mommy time. I need to take care of myself, go wash my hair or something, um, balance. Okay. So you're doing it because you love them, not because you need them to love you back. Okay. Make it an unconditional love without any repayments, any strings. Yeah. So that's a toughie. And sometimes we need to unravel that with a lot of women. So I think Rebecca and us, we were talking about that kind of on the last call, the um, what is it called? The supposed to be ideal Greek wife and mother, and supposed to, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, well, we're not like that. We're not going to do that anymore. It's all the cultures, really. Yeah. Undefined boundaries. Yeah. I've had so many people talk about boundaries, like, oh, I really need to strengthen my boundaries, and I give them, say, tea tree oil, which is boundaries, or clove oil, and they hate it. Why do you think they hate that? Those are the boundary oils. We tell them to do boundaries, but they can't make boundaries. Why?
It's like self-sabotage.
Yep, that's a form of self-sabotage because they think that if they don't do what everyone else tells them to do, right, or make everyone happy, then they're not going to get the love, right? But if
People
you
pleasing.
people pleasing, right? So I don't want to set boundaries because people might be upset if I say no. Um, but if you don't need people to love you, don't need people to praise you. If you feel enough love from God, if you feel like you know what God wants you to do each day, right? You're kind to people enough, right? But you don't bend over backwards and, over service. The way you self-respect, people will adjust to you. People will adjust. They'll leave you alone because they're like, oh, so and so might be busy right now. Or if they need help, they will ask, politely, because you respect yourself. You teach the universe to adjust to that. Okay. You teach your husbands, you teach your boyfriends, you teach people to respect you because you've learned how to respect yourself. So if you say, you know what, if I, like, for example, just do sessions, okay, the energy sessions I do, if I do more than about 3 sessions a day, I'm still, I think I'll still be okay, but more than 4, I'll be a bit drained, right? So I think I'm going to keep it at 2 or 3 a day max. If somebody books with me, I'll just cut it off at that. So if someone says, "Oh, Jace, do you have time?" I might have time, but I have to say no because I know my limits. So I say, "Oh, no, can you book another day?" Right? And I just have to say that. And as soon as I define that boundary, it's so funny, you guys. Once you make certain boundaries, God helps you test it to see if you really, really believe it. So I did that, and I had about 5 that day, 5 appointments. But 2 are just like business calls, and 3 are like energy balancing appointments. And then I had a lady text me, go, I need a session now. And I said, look, I can't help you right now because I'm pretty booked out. And she's like, no, no, you don't understand. My issues are very, urgent or whatever. I want you to help me now because I'm really mad at my sister, blah, blah, blah. She's just big, long text. And I just apologized again. And that's it. She threw up on me, just kind of, you suck, you this, all these, went online and blasted me online. And she's just threw a big tantrum. And my friends are like, who was that? And I was like, oh my gosh, do I feel bad? Do I feel bad? Did I cause that? And then I realized, no, she chose that response. And I'm okay with that because I didn't choose it. I didn't create that, right? So when we start feeling guilty, oh, I did this to people and it was all my fault, that's when we don't have the boundaries. I checked in with God. I told him I can only handle this many people per day, and I squeezed in 2 more business calls. That's fine. Yeah. So not my problem. I wasn't able to do that before. Go ahead, Amanda.
I really struggle with the boundaries, but I'm trying to just be aware of what's going on. And I feel like, I it's a imbalance of power. And I've learned very young to give up that power. And I
Mm-hmm.
try to get it back.
Mm-hmm.
And I see all this, um, trying to have control, like my
Yeah.
family members, of oh, I'm angry with you,
Yeah.
or just not
Yeah.
answering me, being disrespectful.
Right.
And I'm struggle with, okay, I want to respect myself, but I'm still not sure, I guess, how to have consequences or
Yeah.
how to
Yeah.
do those
There's
boundaries.
there's a few layers there, Amanda, and I totally get you because people have learned very well how to manipulate you. Okay, so I'm mad at you, I'll give you the silent treatment or whatever, and then you feel, oh gosh, I feel guilty. Oh, I caused that problem. Um, you know, I've had a friend when she learned how to love herself, learned how to create some boundaries, she just started taking supplements, she started exercising, taking time for herself, which is healthy, right? Um, Her family actually told her, husband and kids told her, we like the old you better. And I was like, unbelievable. I said, no, no, I like the new you better. You know why? Because you respect yourself and you can speak up. The old you says yes to everyone for every turn. Anything that anybody needs, you were always there. So you got to reason with yourself and speak to God about this. And here's an example. We can spend a whole call on this. An example is, you're serving two masters or, many masters. Who are you serving? So if I'm serving God, and if God says, Jade, you need to part the Red Sea, right? I am not going to be like, oh, but over there, they want me to build an ark. Never mind. Sorry, God. I'm busy over here because so and so needs me. No, right? I need to serve God and they can choose. So they have learned to be unempowered. They've learned not to own their agency, right? And
Right.
because they've learned to not own their agency, they're going to have a big struggle in the future. Well, there are lots of struggles in their future because they don't know how to be responsible for their own self. How can they create, in the eternities when they don't own their agency? So I'm doing them a disservice, right? By taking away their agency. Okay. So I haven't learned how to value me. So I haven't taught my kids how to value themselves. So I realized, whoa, this is a different way of thinking about it all. One, I have to realize that I have to teach my kids to serve God. And that's why I've told my kids, like Michaela, she's taken a course that I'm like, I have no idea what that course is, but do it. Because if the Lord has told you so, just do it. I have some fun ideas of what I think my kids can do, but then, never mind me if God tells you something different. Okay. So here I am honoring God, doing what I need to do. I want you to honor God and do what you need to do because I know that if you do that, then you will be successful or you will do the will of God and things will work out. Okay. So, I'm teaching my kids that. So when I tell myself when I have healthy boundaries, I'm teaching people to honor God. Okay. When I realize that, that's great. And you know what? When they get mad and they start manipulating you, they give you the silent treatment, they get angry, they'll get over it. They'll live, right? They'll get over it. But what
Right.
it is they're
Well,
hooking
I
on to
think
your
maybe
energy.
instead of being loved, I mean, real
Yeah.
love is
Yeah.
it's in alignment, and if it's not, it's like
Yeah.
you're just
And I'm not the
using
source
people.
of light and love. I'm not the source. God is. So they will never get enough light and love and whatever from me because I'm only human. So when they draw and draw and draw, they can't draw enough. They keep on getting droplets instead of like buckets from God. They'll realize that I'm only human. So when they draw on us, right, we feel that heaviness, right? We feel like we're carrying everybody on our back. Our back will hurt, we'll gain weight, we'll stress out, we'll have gut issues, we'll have headaches because we overthink for them. So, oh my goodness, I have to show them the source of light and love, right? And then the healing comes from that connection to God. All right, I've been in the way between them and God. And I'm like, well, I'm not doing that anymore. That's not helping them. Yeah. And that's when I realized it's super healthy for them. So when you think in that term, instead of, oh, me, I have to protect me, um, then it's more empowering. But of course, we don't need to feel scared of those humans, right? I'm scared that she might get mad. I'm scared that he might be offended. When we're not worried and scared, that means we're really serving one master. So yeah. Anyways, that's the gist of the thinking and the healing that we had to do, I had to do to get that boundary stuff, you know. So, I used to have the eczema, and that was it, letting people under my skin, letting people irritate me, letting people, we'll talk about that soon when we do the session on Rebecca, um, you know, hold you responsible for their happiness. Okay, so we see how far back that is, Rebecca, when we find out later. Yeah. Anyways, hope that helps, Amanda. But that is a very, very good question. I think many people need to know that. Yeah. Um, the next one is holding self back from greatness. Yeah. Imagine if you're, preordained before you came to Earth to do something great and you hold yourself back. No, oh no, I can't build an ark. Sorry, I'm just this humble boy. No, ask somebody else to build it. And it's like, oh, but you were preordained. You promised that you would do it. Oh, what a shame. And then meeting God afterwards and saying, oops, I was chicken. Yeah, that is not a good excuse. Yeah, so in my mind all the time, whenever I feel an inspiration, and this is cool because once you only answer to one master, all the channels from other people shut off and you can hear and see clearly, right? So when I feel it, I'm like, you know what? I need to do this because I don't want to face God and tell him that I was chicken. I don't want to give that as an excuse. I just have to do what I can do. You know what, guys? My latest instruction was to write that parenting book, and I wrote 50 pages and I lost it. 2 days ago, I looked for it and I couldn't find it. And I was like, oh, what happened? I was just trying to be obedient. I was doing good. Yeah, it was completely gone. And I find all these other things on my laptop, and I'm like, that is interesting. How did that happen? But then I realized maybe he wants, it wasn't good enough. He wants me to restart. Like, oh, I'll do it. I'll have to keep on doing it. Just kind of proves I need to prove to me that I have the faith. I'm sure he knows where I'm at, but I need to show me. Yeah. Anyways, that was painful. So
Sounds like
self-judgment.
a good one. I need to read. You need to write it for me.
Thank you, Amanda. That's awesome. Yeah. But every day I get inspiration. I jump on the computer and I add a few things. And then the other night I just thought, oh, this whole week I haven't done anything. I have a thought that I couldn't get out of my head and my heart. I'm trying to go to bed, but it just goes around in circles. And I know how that feels, because that's what happens when I wrote the other books. And I thought, okay, doesn't matter what time it is, I'm gonna get up and just put that down, put that idea down. And I thought, where did it go? What happened? It was just right here. Yeah. So, anyways, this self-judgment and self-punishing. Think about this. God is not judging you yet. You're not at the end of your journey yet. You're not standing at the judgment bar yet. What makes you think that you can take God's job and punish yourself and judge yourself now while you're still in the middle of your journey? How presumptuous, right? So I think to myself, well, I have to give myself grace and just keep telling myself to keep going. It's just when we've had perhaps an upbringing where maybe parents, they punish us, whether it's physical or emotional or just verbal, um, whenever we make mistakes. We're so afraid of making mistakes because their love is conditional, right? I'm not happy with you anymore because you've messed up here. I'm like, I am going to be human all of my life. I will make mistakes all of my life, right? God's not out there punishing me as soon as I make something, make a mistake about something, right? He's not there hurting me or whatever yet. And in the end, I'm the one that's judging me anyways. He's going to be loving and he's going to be, graceful and merciful. Why can't I be more like him, right? Instead of this, what is this? What is this terrible, angry, mean person, right? God's not like that. So, yeah. And then I realized that's Satan, right? Why do we have to punish ourselves? So whenever things happen, I say, give yourself 5 minutes to feel bad, you know. And then like with Michaela, whenever she tells me my stuff like she's done, and I said, yeah, I feel bad. You know. And then I said, okay, you done feeling bad? 5 minutes. And then what are you gonna do about it? All right, give yourself grace, praise yourself for stuff that you've done well. At least I did this, a little, and then all right, let's keep going because you don't have to spiral and say, therefore, I'm the worst in the world. Therefore, I suck. Therefore, I don't deserve to breathe. It's just, all right, I messed up and I feel the consequence. And then here's my plan to fix it. Move on. Okay, that is humility, guys. Like, if you're one to remember the past and say, oh, I remember that one time when I did this one thing and it's terrible, makes me a terrible person. That's Satan. Satan bringing back, minor evidence to try to convince you that your identity is this awful thing. But your real identity is a beloved, powerful child of God with great potential. Okay, you are intelligent. You are good. So just give yourself that grace and be your best cheerleader. And that is humble. That is humility. Yeah. Even if it's a culture where, people don't value education or something, you have to question it. Like I have friends that, think that they're humble, they're supposed to this and that. But if God says, you need to be rich and you need to be educated and stuff, then do so. Right. Yeah, one girl said, because she was 18, graduated from high school, I said to her, hey, wow, that's exciting. Are you going to go to college? Are you going to uni? And she's like, no, I don't want to be white. I thought, what answer is that? Yeah. So, anyways, lacking in confidence, faith, and trust. And this comes from this conditional love, right? When you have a love that's not firm, it's not a foundation that you can rely on, right? You're mad at yourself whenever you do bad. You're kind to yourself. You're nice to yourself when you do good. And it's just so conditional. Imagine if you have a stable foundation of love. God loves me. The end. Period, right? This beautiful foundation, no matter what I do, he still loves me. Okay? So when you have that, you'll have confidence in his confidence. Yeah. Just the other day, my mum was telling my girls, she's like, this is typical Vietnamese culture, and I had to point it out a few times. She's like, oh, you want to go play with the cousins? And the twins were like, no. Oh, don't you love them anymore? Don't you love me anymore? You know, why don't you do this? She said that with food too. You don't want to eat that food anymore. Don't you love me anymore? Just, and I had it. I was like, Mom, can you not take love out and use that as a weapon or a tool to manipulate? I said, just love. Love unconditionally. Just period. Stop. Go ahead, Amanda.
I heard somewhere, I don't know who said it, but it was like Satan calls us by our sins, but God calls us by our name. And I
Oh,
love that. Like,
oh, beautiful. Yeah, yeah, exactly. You just know he loves you. Yeah, you know what? You messed up. Jesus paid for that. And now, because of the atonement of Christ, you get to restart, redo. Just give yourself grace and then just move on. Yeah. Why all this drama, right? So that's the whole point. Okay, once we figured that out, once we rebuke Satan and his um I guess his temptation for you to be mad at yourself. Okay, when you start fighting that and you don't give in to that, then that is humility, right? So anyway, so that's the slide that I wanted to share with you for part of the course. Anyone want to comment? I'm going to stop share here. Go ahead and comment or.
well, it seems like, the pride one is the natural man.
Yeah.
And then the one is, the sanctified, the born again,
Yeah.
there's two different polars.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to kind of take it apart, and just, look at it one little piece at a time so we can understand. Sometimes when we have a big label, we don't even know what it looks like. So here it helps us identify and then, correct our behaviors. Yeah, that really helped me. All right. Anyone else want to share their thoughts?
It's very powerful. Great detail to unpack it, Jade. I wish they taught this at school.
Yeah, I know.
They talk about it high level, but they don't go illustrating the behavior. This is what, not having boundaries looks like. This is
Yeah,
what good boundaries looks like. It's
yeah.
not illustrated in detail. So I think as a parent, that's up to us to fill in the gaps,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know. Yeah, and the self-doubt is that could be very destructive for people. I know people who just sit and go into those for years, decades. They hold on to it for years.
mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. It's just a culture too. Sometimes people feel like, oh, everyone is the same, everyone's doubting themselves. But that doesn't give you, um, you know, that the right or permission, I guess, to do that. Because if God thinks this of you, why do we think different to him? Yeah. So yes, we don't want to follow this traditions of men, right? We just want to follow the a culture of
Mm.
Christ. Yeah. So we're going to tag on to this call, a little mini session with you, Rebecca. So if I understand it
Yeah.
correctly, you have a little bit eczema on your back. Yes?
Yeah, I've been told it's a fungus on my back that's spread. So it's like white, it looks like white spots and discoloring. It looks like people will say, "Oh, is your skin peeling?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So, so you know how like people have those little white pimples on their face? Is it kind of like that?
It's more scaly.
Scaly.
It's very
Okay.
scaly.
Yep. A lot of eczema is a fungus, anyways. It doesn't matter
Okay.
where it
Okay.
end up in your body. It is that Candida fungus, and that's why we're doing the 30-day cleanse and restore. Yeah. Um,
Yes.
yep. So we prayed already. So permission to connect to you.
Yes.
Okay. So Rebecca, got it. Um, with Rebecca, we just need to establish are there any evil spirits, entities, or curses? Strong for yes. No. Any hidden ones? No. 100% open-hearted. 100% surrendering will. 100% open-hearted, strong for yes. It's actually no. That's interesting. Um,
Hmm.
how many percentage is above 50, above 60, 70, 80, 90, 71, 72, 71. 71% open-hearted. And we have emotions to clear, perhaps. Okay, so I've got the emotion chart here. Um, so how many emotions? Yep, there are some emotions. So one, two emotions. We just need to establish the open heart first, and then we will look at the eczema. And sometimes it's both. It just takes care of both. So is it in column one, the first one? Yes. Row one, row two, this second. Okay, so the energy is blaming, and the next emotion is column one, column two, row two, row three, first one, second one, and eight. Okay. And blaming, let's go back to blaming. Is it yours? Your stuff, father side, mother herself goes beyond mum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7. 7 generations back inherited from mum. Inherited from mum, and 7 generations. Okay. So 7 generations back from mum. Okay. So blaming. So should we look at the eczema and the back? Or just stick with the heart? So back. All right. Blaming's about somebody putting too much on your back. And I think this is what we were talking about earlier, huh? Like putting their responsibilities on your back. So another word for that is manipulation, holding people responsible for your own happiness. So 7 generations of women blaming others for, putting things on their back. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think growing up saw my grandmother do that to mum. Well, it was
Yeah.
just the energy I would feel around me to the
Yeah.
kids being
Yeah.
young, and I'd visit the village. It was just a vibe in that village, and it was really toxic, and it's still lingering there.
Yeah. It's on the wall.
It's there. I'm like, this is such a beautiful village, you guys. There's no roads, there's beautiful water, and why are you miserable? What is going on? Oh, it's toxic. It's
Yeah.
an undertone.
I feel bad for them because they don't know better. It's kind of like it's an ignorant culture, that's
Yes.
just how it is, and then people do that, and then yeah, there's always these dramas in these villages. I can attest with my parents' village as well. Um, but yeah, holding everyone responsible. So just think about it. We want people to change their behavior, their actions to make us happy. Are we the authority on how people should behave? You know, we're not. I mean, you hold on to that sadness until so and so and so and so behaves better. Okay, so let's heal for them. Um, we're gonna give them back their backpacks. Who was it that said that? One of my kids said it's like everybody carrying their own backpacks, instead of, carrying everyone else's backpack. Give people back their backpack. Yeah, I don't know which one said it, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, giving people back their responsibility.
I love that.
Yeah, giving people back their responsibilities. This is it. We lack the faith that people have that ability. We say, oh, it's too much. Poor them, poor you, oh, it's too much. Let me help you. Right? We're not asked to be the savior. There's already a savior. Yeah, we can help if inspired, but when we do that, we kind of stand between them and God. Right? We want them to have that connection with Jesus and not be in the way. And when we reason with ourselves like that, we say, you know what? If I keep doing that, I'll be in the way of them and God. So it is okay for people to struggle. Okay. And I will help if God inspires me to help. If not, I'm confident that they can figure it out themselves.
Yeah.
It's as women, we're, loving and caring and nurturing, and we just see people in need and we're like reaching out to them and let me fix it, let me grab that pain and throw it away for you. That will be, good for us because then we don't feel pain anymore because we're watching that person struggle, but that's not good for them. And we've heard lots of stories where, you help a caterpillar out of the cocoon or you help a little bird out of its egg, it'll not have the strength to live, right? So we need to
Mm.
let them kind of struggle and build the muscles so they can create, because the ideal is that they own their own power. So if we remind
Mm.
ourselves, here's the goal. The objective of our earthly life is for us to own our agency, win this war of agency, right? Again, um, and connect to God, connect to the love of God. Okay? Because once you connect, then you can be obedient to whatever it is He asks you to do. So those two things. So am I allowing people to own their agency? Am I allowing
Mm.
people to connect to God in love? Two things.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's not how can I make people the most comfortable ever? That's not our goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just kind of clarify. So
So
objective,
true. So true. Yeah.
yep, objective is owning agency and connecting to God with love. The end. Yes? Yep.
Yes.
If I'm
Yeah.
helping them, would that help them own their agency? Maybe, maybe not. Sometimes, like as a mum, if your child is 5 and he's learning to do his laundry, you can do it with him, you know, together. As a teacher, you model and then you do it together, and then finally when they get it, they can do it independently. So you can follow that model. So at this
Like that.
point, does this person need me to model? Okay, I'll just do it and I'll show you how to do it. Okay, if you don't need them to model anymore, they're like 50 years old, you know, you're like, okay, now can we do this together?
Yeah.
Right? And if we can work on it together, great. And once they've tried it out themselves a little bit with their training wheels and they seem to get it, then you can say, time for you to do it. So even with prayer, you can say, let me show you how to pray. And let's pray together. I'll pray for you, but you also need to learn how to pray. And then, you already know how to pray. I invite you to pray to God. If my kid's like, Mom, what
Mm.
should I study? Or Mom, help me here. I'm like, okay, have you prayed about this yet? Right? We've
Yeah.
already, shown you how to pray lots and lots. Okay, why don't you pray, come back, and I'll pray, and I'll come back, and we'll discuss what God has told us. Okay, and see where we need to go together. You teach them to receive revelation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine if your husband's the same way. He knows how to receive revelation. You know how to receive revelation. If you need to make a big decision, you go away into your own closets, pray, come back and say, yeah, this is what I got. Okay. Oh, I got that too. All right, let's act on that. Okay. That's so great. Instead of having one
Mhm.
person be the lead and then the other one just follows passively. You gotta own their agency. Yep.
Yeah.
So that I think will be a good rule. That's your boundary rule, right?
Yeah.
Policy. Then you won't take on stuff anymore. Yeah, so don't overly volunteer for everything, but you can
Okay.
push it through for a second. And I think it'll get easier and easier as you go, right? Because if you're responsible, this is the eczema. If you're responsible for their stuff and then you do it and then they're not happy, they get under your skin. They start
Mhm.
manipulating, they're getting mad at you, and that's the eczema. Fungus is just a negative energy of sucking and
Mm.
vampiring, you know.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So that's pretty much it. So
So interesting.
yeah, once I recognized that, I was like, oh, I do let people take my energy, take from me. It's not that I'm not generous, it's just that I haven't checked in with God yet. And I'm presumptuous, I assume that I need to give it to them when God says, I'm trying to teach them a lesson, Jade, you keep on
Yeah.
interrupting and interfering with my work. And I'm, oh, sorry, I won't do that again. Right? So I
Yeah.
don't want to do that. Keep messing with what God's trying to do with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you want to be a good person. You want to be loving. You want them to know that you're loving. But it's not about you.
Mm.
Yeah. In the
Yeah.
end, I realized, whoa, not about me. Yeah. So what is in their best interest? I just need to check in with God first. And now that you know how to do the energy balancing, we're tempted to volunteer and help everybody. Yeah. I had to get to the point where I have to charge people because I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's me taking on everybody. And I just want to save everyone, help everyone. But God's like, no, no, and they have to want it. So how they show that they want to is to pay, right? How they
Yes.
show that they're willing to heal is that they have to sacrifice something. And I thought, equal energy exchange. And then I had to find the right
Wow.
price because if it's too inexpensive, you get people who are still unwilling to heal and change, or you get
Yeah.
people who are not ready. So they don't understand all of what you did. I even had a lady go, "Oh, you're doing witchcraft, blah, 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 blah," and starts telling
Mm.
everybody about it. Oh, this girl here, she's terrible. And I thought, unbelievable, unbelievable. I am just trying to help you. So then I have to realize, you have to raise the bar. And then I realized God does that too, right? He has his standards. He
Yeah.
requires stuff of you.
Yeah.
It's not all freebies.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me in my church, like they say salvation is free. God died and saved us. We have a body, a free, a new body. But exaltation is not free.
Mm.
Yeah. Exaltation is being exalted to be with God. That's not free because you need
Ah.
to put in the effort to own your agency to be a powerful God,
Mhm.
like the other celestial kingdom citizens should be, so that you can fit in. You know, you if you're not like ready, you can't go to a certain course or go to uni if you're still in year one, right? You've got to get to that level where you're comfortable in that space, right? You have to match the energy. And they've
Yeah.
had scriptures where they say, well, if you want to hang out with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, right, have you paid the price of pain? Have you paid the currency
Mm.
of heaven? Right? Because you can't just want to smooth, through life and expect everything comfortable and not have to pay the price of pain. Yeah. So once you have, then you're right there. Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense. Yep. So put
Change
in,
Yeah.
is not comfortable.
pardon, Amanda?
Change, change and growth are not comfortable.
Yep, not always. Yeah, we call it growing pains, but
Mm.
it's possible. It's we never try beyond our ability. So I feel like whenever we get this big challenge, I think, well, God, you must think I can do this. This is a big
Well,
thing. And so I must have it inside of me somewhere. Let's, conjure it up and let's figure it out. That's how I see it. So I never go, oh no, it's too big for me. I think, wow, you must trust me a lot.
mm,
Yeah. So I guess I'm confident in myself because of your
I love that.
confidence. Yeah. So then that's the best gift we can give people is the confidence that they could do this. But you will only know this very well when you have had the experience with God. And Rebecca, I know you, you have miracles every day. So,
Every day.
you know it, but you need to give people now the opportunity. It's not that this is not your only you, this is seven generations of people, but you being the example for all these people of one that know God, right? You've known God and you really want them to taste that juicy happiness that you've
Yeah.
received, right? And that
Yeah.
the only way they can do that is for them to do the work themselves,
That's right. Yeah.
divine work. We can model, we can do it together, guide them, and then we can allow them to do it independently. So your
Yeah.
kids, your future spouse, your parents, yep,
They're the big ones.
friends.
They're a big ones.
Yeah. So if you want to, you're going to sit down and identify all the people that you feel like you're carrying on your back, right?
Mm.
And then you go, "Ooh, I give you back your backpack, put you on the altar." I I get people throwing their backpacks on me all the time, especially my mum. Here's my problem. Stress with me. Let's have a stress party. And I'm like, no, mum, that's your problem, right? You can figure this
Yeah.
one out. Your dad
Yeah.
said this. I'm like, yep, okay, well, that's his problem, right? You guys are adults, talk through this. And it's like, what? Why don't you stress with me? Why don't you? Yeah. Like, no, no, it's not, I'm not unloving, but I promise you that you'll get through this and you'll be stronger. And she has. And I feel like when she had that fall and she had the surgery and all of the problems, at first I was just guiding her through, teaching her how to pray, and here's the oils you need. And afterwards, she knows. She knows. And I've seen her do it over and over and over again. And then I'm like, okay, I think you're ready. I said, you do
Mm.
it. And she's like, oh, which one again? Which one? I said, Mum, go get it. And then she does. She just loves that attention. And I said, no, 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 we're not doing this anymore. You've graduated. Yeah. And I've seen that she's healthier because she's owning her agency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yep. So let's see. Did we reason this out enough? So we're saying we're giving people back their responsibilities. Okay. We're okay with people struggling. Are we? Are we okay? Rebecca, watching them struggle?
I feel, yes, I feel I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm getting there. I'm not
Okay,
100%,
what
maybe
what is our
95.
what is our game plan when you watch people struggle?
I read the signs, so I have to sit back and read the signs of the universe
Yes.
and God, and then I get the downloads.
Yep, that's right.
And then I follow the triggers. So usually God will send me to places or people for wisdom to be shared. And so I have to listen to that.
Yep, so
I act on the inspiration.
that's
Yeah.
beautiful. So just check in with God. That's basically what I'm hearing, right?
Yeah.
So when people are struggling, you check in with God, you read the signs, you see all the ways He answers you. Okay, be prayerful. Pray, should I jump in? Should I help somehow, somewhere? Okay, it could be, I can do this for you if you do this, 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 this. Okay, so yeah, um, you will be inspired. But remember, I think we've mentioned this a few times. Whenever your heart goes, right, the darkness and the
Yeah.
struggle, that's a sign that this is not right. Yeah, when it's
Mm,
peaceful, when it's burning with this energy and passion, that's a sign that it's right. So for me, I'm
yeah.
like, check, 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 check. How do I feel right now? Yeah. And then, okay, I feel good. I feel all right. Yeah. Imagine if I do this, 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 this. How do I feel now? Okay, okay, still good. Yep, let's do it. Yeah, with
Okay.
my daughter, she had last year she had struggles. She didn't know what she wanted to study when she went to college. Um, and I said, you need to pray. You know how to pray. And she's like, oh, I did. Nothing happened. And so I try again. And so every month, we have the same discussion, Mama, and I don't know what's wrong. I said, no, you need to pray because you know what? I know if you've connected to the Lord because you feel empowered, you feel happy, and you feel confident. And you're neither of those right now. You're none of those right now. All right, so you need to continue to pray. She's like, I do. And finally, I prayed and I said, look, what do I do for this child? I'm trying to give this child her agency, right? Um, and then I had this inspiration that we need to kneel together. She needs to hear my words and she needs to, add her words to it. So I'm like, okay, I literally held her hands. We knelt by the bed and I talked to God. She started crying and I paused and I said, how do you feel? She's like, I feel good. I feel God loves me. I said, what is he saying to you? Is he saying something to you? And she's like, oh, he's saying this and this and this. Like, good. I said, okay, let me finish my prayer and then it's your turn. So there's times where you're like, what do I do about this, Heavenly Father? And then who gives you that little bit of a hint of where to go next. Yeah.
Mm.
Yep. Yeah. So we're okay with people struggling. this is the thing, God never gives us a struggle beyond our ability. Okay, we struggle, right? And it's an opportunity to connect to God. The struggle compels people to humility.
Yeah.
The weaknesses remind people to be humble. Yeah. So did they connect to God? I mean, like my mom is Buddhist and her struggles compelled her to God. She even asked us, she's like, can you help me? Can you pray for me? And I said, yeah. And she goes, I feel it every time you pray. I feel better. I feel better that day. And I said, I've been praying for you every day. And I said, I think it's time for you to learn how to pray. And she's like, oh, okay. I don't know. I'm not smart enough. I said, no, no, you are smart enough. You can do this. Yeah. She was compelled. Yeah. So I think take up that opportunity to help them in that way.
Okay.
See it for what it is. Don't scoop them out of their misery immediately. Because, struggling with that little bit of pain is so helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
I will help people. You're welcome. I help people if God inspires me to help. If not, I'm confident that they'll figure it out themselves. God never gives them any struggles or trials beyond their ability. Okay. If they are not confident, they are going to be compelled to connect to Him. All right. So
Yeah.
now, can we clear blaming inherited from mum, 7 generations? Strong for yes? Yes. All right, take a deep breath in and release. And that's cleared. Rebecca, you're doing the 30-day cleanse, right?
I'm taking supplements, but yeah, I've started. Not
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I think
yeah,
that
I've
will help.
started.
The 30-day cleanse would definitely help. The good thing is you've cleared the energy for it. So you're not making room for the fungus anymore. I know
Okay.
you're healthy and you eat healthy and all that stuff, but it's interesting that we still hold on and make room for the fungus.
Yeah.
I had so many friends that are super healthy, eating super clean, and yet they still have eczema, psoriasis, and that's just not being able to be clear on their identity. So your identity, hope that it's clear today, right?
Yes.
You're a child of God, helping Him in His work. And His work is to help others own their agency and connect to God. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's who you are. You're not so and so's savior.
Yeah.
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 Okay, so that's released 7 generations of people. That's a lot. 7 times 20 years on average. And all the people that are connected to those people, that's thousands, maybe. Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
It's just that we didn't know better. We didn't know how to reason. Um, yeah. Okay, the next one is panicked. So your stuff, father side, mother herself goes beyond mum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. There's four generations back on mum's side.
Mm.
Panicked. All right. So I think this might be easy to clear because we talked about this. Here, can we clear it now? Nope. Why would we be panicked? I think it's connected to the supporting of people.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know mum's always like everything has to be urgent, everything has to be in a rush, everything has to be now. Like I walk through the door from work and it's like, boom, I get these, I call them bombs. I just get bombs and grenades thrown at me. It's like, hold on, it doesn't have to happen right now. Like, how about we prepare the person with the theme, have a conversation, and then ease. She's changing, which is good, and dad's the same. Yeah, they don't have the best way to grasp words either, bless them. But it's this energy of, yeah, if it doesn't get done, it's like the end of the world.
Yeah, yeah. That's
And we grew up like
very
that. It
common.
was like our bodies were filled with that hormone, fight or flight. And even in work, that was the response. Get it done now, get it done. And the past few years, the message has been slow down, like just
Yeah.
slow down. So that's where I'm at right now. Everything's changed.
Oh, I relate. I relate very much. Yeah. Because, slowing down doesn't mean you're not being productive. It's actually go slow to go fast. The Lord
Yeah.
inspires us to take the right steps, so we're not messing with His projects here and there. We know we're not making mistakes, and panic is Satan. Anytime we panic,
Yes.
it's Satan, because when you panic, you make mistakes. You make a big deal about something that's nothing, right? You like you said, why is this a bomb? Can we, and I think it's just their lack of trust and faith in God, their lack of skills to reason,
Yeah.
lack of skills to reason. That's what I put in my book. Now I lost it. So, because this is just skills to pause and say, let me just write this down. Let me pray on this.
Mhm.
I have to say so many times to my mom, I'm like, that's not a big deal. Stop stressing. Just call,
Yeah.
tell them to cancel. It's just not a big deal. Yeah. But it's just when we don't have the trust that God's got this, right? We don't have the faith that, He can handle this. It's
Yeah.
all, it's all us, and this puny little poor human being is going to have to fix this big problem. That's what it is. Our subconscious says, "Oh, I can't." Of course you can't, because you're human. And when your heart
Mm.
panics like that, it's just not helpful, when you create all the stress hormones and you get sick. And yeah, that's why we fill our hearts up with this divine love, and that love is light. Light is
Mm.
comfortable. And when we haven't defined ourselves, because we're talking about skin here for you, we're going to define ourselves. And I suggest that we say something like, I'm a calm um, and collected person, or something like
Yeah.
that. You know,
Yeah.
everything is solvable.
Hmm.
Mm, everything is solvable. Yeah, with God, everything's solvable, right?
Yeah. 100%.
In my mind, I have to tell myself, right? Timing, for example. God knows the right time for things. Sometimes I push my agenda when, we're not meant to do it now. It's not meant to happen now. And
Yeah.
God, He builds, upon the last. So precept upon precept, right? Here a little, there a little. He just kind of adds. He's not in a rush.
Yeah.
Satan, whenever we are stressed and we're panicked, that's Satan. Even in
Yeah.
an emergency, when our heart is calm, we
Yeah.
we hear the the words of God, and we hear the inspirations. Yeah. So here's a skill that we can invite your family and you to adopt, and I think you've got this down, but others need to pick it up too. Is one, to just take a breath in and pause and pray. Just breathe, pause and pray.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I ask myself questions. You can write this down. You can, as you write down, you say, is this really urgent?
Yeah.
Does does it matter in 5 years? Does it
Yeah.
matter in 10 years? Yeah. And then does it matter in
Yeah.
eternities? Because it really doesn't. Then don't. And even if it does matter in the eternities, God's got a plan. So seek to find out what that plan is.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the spiritual death is, the most important, urgent thing. But it doesn't have to be
Yes.
immediate, even physical death. if we are good people and we die physically, no, we're just gonna hang out with God. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
But if it's spiritual death, like turning against God, and
Yeah.
you know, that's an important thing to fix. But even then, the Lord's going to help you, know what to do to help that person, to feel His love, to, pray to Him, to learn those skills. Yeah, He's got it. So here, I think trust that God's got this, right? And know that panic is Satan's temptations.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then asking
Yeah.
if it's not urgent, put everything in its place.
Yeah.
And, saying your affirmations. I'm a calm and collected person. And with God, everything is solvable.
Love that. Yeah.
Well, calm and collected. Now I'm doing grammar. Okay. Let's see. Can we clear panicked now? Strong for yes. Almost there. Let's see, oils. Ylang ylang comes up.
Oh, that's so true, Jade. I've been told that's my oil.
Yeah.
That's my signature oil.
Yes, that's perfect. All right. So this is why. I don't know if your mum has blood pressure issues.
Yes, she does. Yes.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
is helps with the blood pressure. Yeah.
Okay.
Because we're moving forward and squeezing out the joy. With ylang ylang, it's a playful oil. It's for childhood joys. So
Yeah.
as a child of God, can you let him be your daddy? So let God in to help fix the problems.
Yeah.
So imagine if it's a little 5-year-old, you know, oops, daddy, I spilled this, right? Not a problem. Let me help you. We'll clean it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can have joy. So it's like allowing yourself to have the joy and fun. Yeah.
Mm.
Borrowing every opportunity to be stressed, to be that adult all the time. Do we really have to?
Mm.
Yeah. Do we have to be this boring adult constantly?
Yeah. Yeah.
So allowing yourself to have childlike joy. So your heart can move forward with that joy. This was a huge lesson for me. Ylang Ylang taught me so much. Yeah.
Mm.
I was so overly responsible for myself and responsible for others. And I just felt so guilty playing, so guilty even sitting there watching a show, so guilty, that I didn't know how to play games. Like I feel bad sitting down playing a board game because I'm like, I could be doing something more important right now, you know? And then
Yeah.
I got mad at my husband because he's such the fun guy, and here I am, the boring mum. And as I started to learn more about this, and lucky the kids were still little, um, I thought, oh, you know what? Childhood doesn't wait. I have to play with my.
Yes.
I need to play. I just need to play. The dishes can wait. I'll fix dinner later. They'll just have to wait until it's done. They have to have finished exactly on time, right? We can play. Yeah. And it's not irresponsible. That was my biggest pet peeve, like irresponsible people. Because
Mm.
I was responsible, and when people are irresponsible, it's like, oh, it makes me work some more. Um, but no, we need to balance. We need to play. So playing is not irresponsible. Yeah.
Mm.
Asking God for help is not irresponsible, right? He has a
Yeah.
smarter way to do things. right, than me. And I feel like I do it harder and
Yeah.
I instead of smarter. Yeah. So I take the hardest route around things, and that's not necessary. And and we look back and I think, oh, a lot of self-imposed pain and suffering,
Mm.
that's unnecessary. So I've learned my lesson. I always ask, is there a better way? Is there a quicker way? Do I have to do this at all? Or can
Yeah, I
I be
love that
happy?
one.
Yeah. So yeah,
Do I?
find the joy. I'll tell you
Yeah.
this fun experience. Um, our family is American Australian, and we had um, a time when we lived in the outback in a very small town, and it was Thanksgiving. And I thought, okay, well, we'll invite some of those Americans to our house for Thanksgiving because that's their holiday and they must miss home. And word got around that the Baldens were doing Thanksgiving dinner. And so they're like, can we join you? And I thought, yeah. And then more people heard. And I thought, yeah, okay, we're getting a lot of people now. And finally, I thought, we're not going to fit anyone. There's about 50 people now that we're not going to be able to fit everyone. And my old self would be like, oh, how am I going to cook for this many people? What am I going to do? But my new self was like, the more the merrier, let's play. So I thought, okay, can we borrow the church? Right? It's in a garage. So they're like, yeah. And I said, can you guys help me set up? And who wants to volunteer to do the turkey? We need 4 turkeys. And we had plenty of people volunteer. And they're like, what about bread rolls? What about this? What about this? And so many people kind of jumped in and volunteered and volunteered. And at the end of the day, did you know what? I cooked nothing.
Oh,
You
wow.
know,
Wow,
like
that's
nothing
amazing.
left for me to cook. Everyone wanted to be a part of this, and everyone
Oh,
wanted to cook and volunteer. So everything was taken care of. All I had to do was just come up with a menu and delegate. And we had the location, and on the day, they were so happy. Everyone brought their things, and seriously, we had over 50 people.
wow, that's
But
amazing.
that was a great
That's
experience.
fun.
I felt like I graduated from that old
Yeah.
person, that is always, oh, how am I going to be able to do all of this? It's all me, right? To, oh, let's have fun, and I don't have to do everything. That's fine. I'm happy with that. Not lazy,
Yes.
not shirking my responsibility, because my job was important too, to, organize it, right? So I'm like, yeah, this is good. I'm
That's
fun,
amazing.
happy. Yeah. So I
And
get to
not feeling
right.
guilty
That's it.
about it,
Guilty.
right?
Why?
Yeah.
Why do we just jump to guilt
Right.
all the time? So I had to tell myself I'm fun. I'm a fun person. That's my new identity.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah,
I
we don't have to
love
whinge and
that.
whine about, oh, you're the fun one and I'm the, mean one.
Yes,
So why? We don't have to do that. Yeah,
so true.
yeah. Yeah. So can you see how this is connected to the eczema on the back?
Yes, very much
Yeah,
so.
putting everything on your back, carrying it, and then we get irritated and agitated. Yeah.
Yes.
So you clarify your identity.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
You own your agency. You let people own their agency. You are a fun person, right?
Yeah.
Everything is solvable. Don't have to carry everyone else's responsibilities. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
whenever they throw things onto your back, try to manipulate or whatever. So, nope, I'm good. And
Yeah.
it's important that you need to carry your responsibilities so you learn stuff, right? So you can be happy, right? I'm robbing your happiness when I take this away from
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So for that,
it's very funny you use the analogy of the backpack because all my life I've just like my parents have known me for she's got a bag for a bag for a bag. Like I love bags, so I'm carrying bags everywhere. Even to work, I might have 3 bags. If I
oh,
get like it's isn't
symbolism,
that interesting?
symbolism, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we do that. Uh,
Yeah,
I know, I like bags too.
thank you.
All right, let's see if we can clear this panic. As soon as panic comes up, it should be a sign, like an evidence for us to say, oh, no, I don't panic. Yeah, I'm a calm person. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, can
Mhm.
we clear it? Yes, we can. Take a deep breath in and release. Okay. Isn't that interesting for people who have high blood pressure? They need ylang ylang, and ylang ylang is that
Yeah.
oil that helps them remember to be childlike and have joy because they're squeezing out all the joy as their blood flows out. It's just squeezing, yeah, all that tension,
Yeah.
unnecessary, unnecessary. Yep, awesome. Well, I'll send you the notes
Thank you, Jade.
taken here. Yep,
Wow,
yep. So I'll send that to you
amazing.
later. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you so much for watching, those that are watching us. Um,